So I will probably upload a couple of videos on pollution this weekend, because I've had a comment on one of my previous videos where the guy said that we would all die of lung cancer in Beijing because of the air pollution. Very nice guy, obviously, but that viewpoint for me is such an old-fashioned view of China, garnered, I think, from ignorance, bitterness, and probably from someone holding on to some image that he's seen on television or so from a long time ago. It's like referring to China as a communist country, which I hear a lot in comments and other social media platforms that obviously I subscribe to. I hate to break it to you guys, but China is a socialist country with communist characteristics and a capitalist mindset. I would probably argue that it's even more capitalistic than the Western countries that claim to be out and out capitalist. Because as far as I see it, there's fierce competition here in China. And by the business failure rate and the churn for new business and fresh and exciting up and coming business ideas from AI all the way through to just manufacturing, then the innovation in China is breathtaking if you ever take the time to understand it. And that's why I say it's very capitalistic here. That's what I mean. So China is a centralized government that decides a long-term strategy, a framework, and then they present that strategy to the people and to the decentralized provinces, and the businesses and industries move and build and develop within that framework. This approach, this system, has vastly improved the lives of Chinese people over the last 45 years. If you think about it, 40 years ago China was very poor, and I think the phrase they used was that China is dirt poor. Horrible saying, but I get the meaning. But now, 40 years later, the cities are fantastical with incredible infrastructure, safe, exciting communities, and really fun environments. And in that 40 years, more than 800 million people have been taken out of poverty. And when I say that, it's crazy that when I say that, people will actually drop in the comments and say that that's not true. I always ask myself, what is wrong with you that you want to keep an image of people being poor, down and destitute? And in my opinion, it's that ignorance that will hold the Western world back. Even when I talk about China and share my experiences, people will not believe it. I will come up with experiences and share it, and people will just come up with some mental gymnastics and nonsense to explain it all off, even though I'm walking through an amazing area here in China, and they will invent stuff. And I mean that lack of self-awareness, or that way of thinking, is just old-fashioned mindset, if you ask me, manipulated by Western media that's brainwashed you into believing things like people will die of lung cancer in Beijing because of the air pollution. Now, I can confirm that Beijing had many days of bad pollution. When I first came here 8 years ago, Beijing was very polluted. See the sun, beautiful sun. I'm going to go back into the shade. Yes, 8 years ago there was an issue with pollution, but Beijing has worked extremely hard to change that, and now we have very, very few days of bad air, and they're getting less and less every year. Often when I check the air quality here in Beijing, a city of 22 million people, and I check that against a large American city or some European or UK cities, there is very little difference between the air quality here and there. Yesterday, in fact, air quality in Beijing was better than San Francisco. But again, often people don't want to hear that. The city of London, for me, on some days has unbelievable bad air quality, but no, it's all just about Beijing and China and dying of lung cancer because of the pollution. Here's a thing for you may want to think about. You have to remember, China is the factory of the world, so all that stuff that you buy is being made in China, and guess what? That means factories, that means impact on the environment. Now, when Europe, UK and America were the factory of the world, they were causing pollution and having that impact on the environment and terrible impact on the local communities, which I remember from my childhood because I lived near a factory. What did they do? They technically solved the problem locally by shifting the factories to the Far East and to the Southern Hemisphere countries. And so they did not really solve the problem, did they? They just shifted the problem. Beautiful, stunning, beautiful, lovely, hot, sunny day. Sweating here. Might even go for a beer. But like I was saying, the Western countries moved the problem of pollution to other less fortunate countries. China is not doing that. They're trying to solve the problem, and they're doing it by driving a very aggressive green industry, cornering the market in much of it. In fact, if you look at electric vehicles, they've obviously cornered that market, and in doing so producing amazing electric cars, and they're very affordable and very futuristic. They're even moving into electric buses, trucks, boats, and obviously trains and so on. Funny enough, we're now seeing Western governments pull back from that chatter about we need to move to EVs. China has also cornered the market for solar panels, and now we hear that solar panels are not that effective. There's problems with them, this, that, and they're not so good for producing energy, blah blah blah. It's funny that, don't you think? Now China is also planting more trees than any other nation in the world today, but you don't ever hear about that positive story. There are many other examples of what China is doing to reduce their impact on the environment. So if you ask me, that is a very responsible attitude. And not only is China taking a mature and responsible approach in working to reduce that negative impact on the environment, they are growing and maintaining their industrial base. We have to give them credit also that they have built what they have built over the last 40 years without warring with other nations, which has always been the style of the Western countries when they have approached the growth of their economies, by robbing and plundering other nations. I would argue that China is demonstrating that there is another way to approach how we work together as nations, and I think we should learn from them. But I fear the Western governments have too much pride in themselves to even consider that idea of sharing and learning. Too much pride. And you know what they say about pride? Yeah, pride and fall and all that. Anyway, it's hot. The sun is heating me up. I'm beginning to sweat. I think I'm going to go for a beer. You can join me for a beer when I finish this. Cheers. Now to finish up, China is still navigating the challenges around the pollution and the impact on the environment, as all countries are. And I'm not going to sit here with a beer in my hand and tell you that everything here in Beijing, China is smelling of roses, because that's not the truth. There remains a lot of work to be done. But it's not just here in China, is it? It's everywhere. And yet while governments the world over are arguing over what to do, and they set themselves some targets that they often miss, China here is just getting on with it, delivering on their aggressive green economy. Like I said, we could work together and learn from each other and build a better world, a better planet. But no arrogance and ignorance will get in the way of that, I fear. As demonstrated by the guy who said we would all die of lung cancer in Beijing because of the air pollution. I fear he was way off the mark. I don't know about you, but you've seen the weather, certainly today and the other day. But I do feel though the guy is possibly correct in thinking that people will die. Many people, will probably cop it. End our days, we will whack it in some fabricated war or conflict driven by politicians and sanctioned by the very same ignorant section of the general population as that guy, you know, the we're all going to die guy. Anyway, they're usually manipulated into screaming for some war or other, that when you actually press them about what it's all about to qualify their understanding of it all, their reply is often lacking in detail, nothing more than parroted empty headiness. Hence why he said what he said. Anyway, peace out. Enjoy my beer and my chips that I've just turned up.
I know you told your friend you're not okay, and tell me what's wrong and why you never said you felt that way. And guess you're trying to stay strong and fake a smile until I look away. But I've known you too long, it hurts to watch your blue eyes fade to grey as you fade away, as you fade away.
Yeah, I'm about to fade away, cause every time I wake up I feel like it's Monday. Something's going wrong with all the chemicals up in my brain. All of a sudden I don't look at anything the same way. Gotta build up of my thoughts sitting in an ashtray. I'm sorry that I'm so inconvenient, okay. Just let me be me and I'll stay out of your way. I can see the way you look at me, I'm such a disgrace. I never really asked to be brought into this place. You wanna love me? Well then baby have a taste. All the highs and the lows, no you'll never be the same. I don't really wanna hurt you but I can't control the pain. If you're sticking by my side maybe we could be okay. Okay, maybe you could be the change I need today. I promise that I've never felt this way. I really hope that you will choose to stay through all the pain.
I know you told your friend you're not okay, and tell me what's wrong and why you never said you felt that way. And guess you're trying to stay strong and fake a smile until I look away. But I've known you too long, it hurts to watch your blue eyes fade to grey as you fade away, as you fade away, as you fade away.
Beijing ice cream, beautiful. With pistachio nuts. Ice cream.
As you fade away, as you fade away.